You know, down on the misty roads of Minas Gerais in Brazil, there's this story they tell. It's a really chilling warning about what happens when someone just refuses to accept the passage of time. They end up building the very trap that's going to devour their soul. So let's step into that darkness together and uncover the tale of the Devil's Trophy Wife.
And really, this quote right here, it's the absolute heart of our story. It's the scent that attracted an ancient evil. And it's the terrible curse that completely consumed a man named Antonio. He learned the hard way that some desires, well, they come with a price that's just far too high to pay.
Okay, so our story kicks off with the man himself. To really get what happened to him, we first have to understand his envy and the fatal flaw that was going to seal his doom.
So who was this guy, Antonio? Well, at 62, he was a man completely worn down by life. Just a mediocre carpenter, always covered in sawdust, which might as well have been the dust of his own frustration. But the real splinter in his heart, the thing that was really eating him alive, it was the poison of envy. He'd just watch his friends get wealthy, flaunting their riches, and, this was the part that hurt the most, their beautiful young new wives. And this right here, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? The tragic split between Antonio's life and what he desperately longed for. His reality was Maria, his wife of so many years. She gave him sincere love, a hot meal, a real life. But his desire? Oh, that was pure fantasy. He wanted a perfect young woman to be a trophy, a prize, to make him feel like some kind of king who had cheated time itself. And here's the really ugly part. Instead of facing his own mediocrity, his own bitterness about his life, he just projected all of it onto Maria. He'd spit these cruel words at her, telling her he was ashamed to even walk beside an aging woman. He was hiding his own failures behind her humiliation.
It was this weakness, this toxic, rotting pride that basically acted like a beacon in the night, and it attracted a darkness that was more than happy to answer his desperate call. So one night, he's stumbling home, drunk, and just stewing in his own rage. He kicks at the stones in the street and just screams his wish into the darkness. He demands a young, divine woman. And in that exact instant, everything stopped. The wind just died. The air grew unnaturally cold, thick with this unbearable smell of sulfur and old mold.
And out of the shadows, a figure emerged. They call him the Midnight Man. He was unnaturally tall, just wrapped in a dark poncho. You couldn't see his eyes under his hat, but you absolutely could not miss his smile. A grotesque slash from ear to ear, filled with glistening, sharp teeth.
The Midnight Man's offer was, well, it was brutally simple. He knew exactly what Antonio's hollow heart wanted. And the price? The only thing Antonio didn't seem to value anymore, his own soul. Blinded by greed, by his own vanity, Antonio didn't even hesitate. He shook the creature's ice-cold hand, and just like that, the profane contract was sealed.
So the deal is done, and it only took a few days for his wish to be granted. But his prize? She didn't show up at a party or a dance. No, she materialized in a place of death.
Her name was Isadora, and Antonio found her just standing there among the gravestones of the local cemetery. A pretty unsettling arrival, you'd think, but to him, she was the perfect vision of his victory over time. She looked to be just 25 years old. She was hypnotically beautiful. I mean, the absolute perfect fulfillment of his shallow, desperate wish. But her beauty was unsettling. Her skin had this sickly porcelain whiteness to it. Her lips were the color of fresh blood. And her eyes, these luminous amber eyes, they just stared, fixed and constant. Because Isadora never, ever blinked. Antonio, of course, was instantly fascinated. He started parading Isadora all through the town, just soaking in the jealous stares. His wife, Maria, completely devastated by this final humiliation, quietly packed her bags and just left. Antonio finally had his trophy wife, and he truly believed he had won.
But this triumph, as you can probably guess, would curdle into absolute terror. And fast. Antonio's euphoria was incredibly short-lived, as the true nature of his prize started to reveal itself. See, after Isadora moved in, the whole house changed. A deep, unnatural chill just filled every single room, and it carried this awful stench of dug-up earth and decaying flowers, the very smell of the grave she came from. And the cost of his pact became terrifyingly clear as his own body began to betray him. Week by week, he got weaker. His skin started to darken and wrinkle violently, like a supernatural sped-up aging process was taking hold. He was paying for her youth with his own life force.
The nights became his own personal hell. He'd just lie awake, paralyzed with fear, listening to these heavy, dragging footsteps echoing down the wooden hallway, right outside his bedroom door.
The torment just escalated from there. Doors would slam shut on their own with this violent force, trapping him inside his own home, which had now become his prison. And then came the whispers. These demonic voices would just hiss from the shadows, mocking his vanity, reminding him over and over of the foolish pride that had led him right to this ruin. And in all his terror, it finally clicked. Antonio finally understood. Isadora wasn't a woman, she was a vessel. Her perfect, unblinking beauty was being fueled by his own vitality. She was a parasite, sent to drain his soul until there was absolutely nothing left.
Which, of course, brings us to the inevitable macabre conclusion, because there is no cheating a deal that's made in the dark.
In one final desperate act, he tried to run, but as he grabbed the doorknob, it felt like it was melting like a hot coal in his hand. He was trapped. His body, completely emptied of life and hope, finally just collapsed. And Isadora? She just stood over him, her amber eyes shining, patiently waiting for the next vain soul to call out into the darkness. This story is just a brutal warning about the dangers of toxic pride. The devil, after all, doesn't offer gifts. He only rents out illusions, and at a price no one can actually afford to pay. And that leaves us with one final, pretty chilling question. How far would you go?